Have you ever wondered why cells are the size that they are? Really, why are they so small when we have to be so big? You may have heard that by being made of many cells, we get to assign different jobs to different cells, making what we call specialized tissues or even organ systems. But if that's all there is to it, couldn't we just be a big cell with different regions that do different jobs? This reasoning for the size of cells can be explained by what we call the surface area to volume ratio. It's the ratio calculated by dividing surface area of a cell, or the total area of its cell membrane, by the volume of the contents of the cell. It turns out that this ratio has an upper and a lower bound. Cells have a minimum size that they must be in order to house all the necessary machinery to maintain themselves. Now on the flip side, if a cell gets too big, the volume will far outweigh the surface area. As a cell increases in size, the surface area and volume do not change at the same rate, due to the fact that one is a square function of the radius of the cell and the other is a cubic function. Now, if I started to lose you on that one, just pay attention to how the ratio changes on these spheres. The volume increases much more quickly than the surface area as the radius grows. If the volume reaches a point that it drastically outweighs the surface area, the cell cannot function efficiently. To illustrate this, consider a factory. If you really simplify it, cells are basically just molecule factories. They take in different chemicals as resources and spit out new ones for different bodily functions, or self-maintenance. For this resource in, product out model, the cell membrane is valuable real estate. That's where all these ins and outs occur. This factory is working along pretty well, but if you really want to grow your outputs, the natural response would be to grow your factory. This bigger factory has more machinery and more area to bring in resources and outputs, but now it runs less efficiently. Now instead of one in and one out conveyor per machine, you have one of each for every two machines. It wouldn't take long before the two machines began to work faster than the conveyors can keep up with. Essentially, the same thing is happening in cells, and both eukaryotic and prokaryotic cells have followed the Goldilocks method and found a size that's just right. Within this size range, cells work at the highest possible efficiency. The question then becomes, especially for eukaryotic cells, what do we do if we want to increase the output? The answer was mentioned earlier in this video. You become multicellular. By becoming multicellular, you maintain that efficient surface area to volume ratio and also gain the ability to increase production and open that door for tissue specialization. Thanks for watching, and I truly hope that I've helped you to make sense of this concept.